Photoshop has a feature called Actions, which can watch things that you do and record them and play them back on new images. If I go to my Window menu, I'll locate the Actions panel. And in Actions, if I stretch it, I have some default actions. This little triangle will expand. So one of the ones I like is the sepia toning for that old-timey photo look. If I click play, it plays back and it kept the background safe. It got the sepia tone effect with a hue and saturation adjustment layer, and it made a desaturated version of layer 1, so my original background is intact. If I choose File Revert to go back to the last saved version, there are other actions that are built into Photoshop. So I collapsed Default Actions, and I'll go to the Panel menu, the 4 little lines with a down arrow. And I will choose some others. So there are Image Effects, like an aged photo. I can click that and hit play. Very interesting. So it made a copy again, protecting the original. After I run all of these, I choose File, Revert. I'll stretch this so it's longer. Fluorescent chalk might be fun on this one. I'll click it and hit play at the bottom. So in some cases, there may be things that you need to do beforehand, and if there were selections there, it might hide the selection, but that really did produce a neat effect. I'll revert again, and there are also frames. If I choose frames, one of the ones I really like is this photo corners, and I'll click play. And if you'll notice, it duplicated the photo, scaled it down, and added the corners, and even put in a gray background. In fact, I kind of like it without the gray background. But maybe I want to change these corners from white to black. I can expand the action, and there are 2 spots where fill happens. This one is using gray, so that must be the new background. If I go down a little bit further, this one is using the background color. So if I choose File, Revert, I can actually customize how this runs. There's a little toggle dialog on or off. So if I stop that at the first fill, I could choose a color that is not gray, a different color. If I stop it at the second fill, I can change the color of the corners. So now I'll click on Photo Corners again and hit play one more time. So instead of using gray, let's use white and click OK. And instead of using the background color, let's use black for the corners and click OK. And I really like that look to this photo. In fact, you could do a little bit more of a special effect by lightening the opacity and leaving some of the original image in the background. But let's revert to saved and try something brand new to Photoshop and Creative Cloud subscribers, Conditional Actions. If I go to my Actions panel and collapse these, we can load one that's already been recorded. In fact, you make them by just doing a new action, giving it a name, and running through items in your menu. You can even record painting and play it back on other images to maybe put your signature in as your copyright on the bottom of all of your photos. So you could record the brushing of your signature. But we're going to put in a copyright that was pre-programmed. So if I go to my panel menu on Actions and choose Load Actions, in my Chapter 9 folder is the Copyright Watermark action. I'll hit Open, and if I expand it, there are 2 actions that are written. Run a copyright on a landscape image, run a copyright on a portrait image, or if the current document is landscape, then play landscape copyright. Else, play portrait copyright. That's what we're going to test. So I have this selected. I'll click play. And on the landscape, it put the copyright at the lower left corner. If I go to this portrait image and run the same if action and hit play, it put it on the upper left. Now you can even do this on a folder of images through File, Automate, and Batch. And when you run Batch, it knows what action I had selected last, so it's running the If Copyright watermark. I will choose the Conditional Begin folder, and there are 4 shots. And the destination will be another folder, so you're making a copy of it. And I will choose, back up a level, the Conditional End. It will keep the same file name, but you could get specific and add a letter or a number or the date and time. Maybe I want to put a letter in, serial letter A, B, C, D. You would just select that and then add extension. I'm going to leave it alone, and I will click OK. And let's take a look at that folder full of images. So if I choose File, Browse in Bridge, I can click a portrait image, there's a copyright, a second one, a landscape image, copyright in lower left, copyright in lower left. So this has been the very new and immensely powerful conditional actions that are now part of Photoshop and the Creative Cloud.